20th of February, 2012, is it correct? We're in Maryborough, Queensland, and at my place in Maryborough, 381 Beaver Rock Road. And allegedly you're watching this video if I have terminated. So this is a pass-on video. It's the history of my life. This has to be a part of my life, where we're last 17 years. Mama, it's my name. No answer. Hot muscular males. Nothing. Fuck. Sound of rivers. River or ocean, or the breeze of the ocean or rivers. Wait and see yourself. None. Nothing freaks me out. None. I'm happy with it. Whatever happens, happens with me. Not like to attempt? I'm thinking of climbing Mount Cook or Mount Everest, that kind of shit. Which New Zealand's did. No, I'm no interest in climbing mountains and that kind of bullshit. You're here. Welcome. If you were gay during that period of time, all you had to do is proclaim yourself to the medical officer in recruiting or while you're in the service, and they automatically discharge as undesirable. So if you had to do any military service, you're automatically discharged immediately because you couldn't go to war because you were not fit for war as a soldier. I was a bosun in Sea Scouts in San Francisco Bay Area, Treasure Island. I took the name Boats as a nickname and went to high school, my third year high school, the junior year. In physiology class I put out the seating chart, so I became a Boats during high school, a very famous party person and an individual. And when I went to university I was a Boats, and my nickname was Boats, or they call me Boats, or Boatsy, and then I would take care of the drunks at the university who had never drunk before, a lot of them, and it was very difficult to drink in the state of Oregon. So they started calling me Mama. One of the Traynor brothers started calling me Mama, or Mother. So I became a Motherboats because I took care of the drunks. And when I went to submarine service, 68, 69, there's no boats on submarines, there's only wheels, or quartermasters. So I couldn't use the name in the Navy because it was confusing to the Navy people. And so when I got out of the Navy, I became a Motherboats again during the hippie period, and I've kept the name ever since. At a point in my life when I was running the Psychedelic Venus Church, I was president, I would say Reverend Motherboats. And so we ran that for a number of years, up to 1973, and at the end of that, I co-wrote the pagan directory, or pagan Bible for the church. Also known as Teatree, which we planted this in 1996, 97 on the front, on the south paddock, and then we did the bamboo much later, about 3 or 4 years later. This is Flora. It's one of the biggest bamboos in the world. And it goes up to about 30 meters, 32 meters. Actually, to my right is Brandisa, which is actually the tallest bamboo in the world. It goes up to about 35 meters. Well, born in Albany, California, which is next to Berkeley, across from San Francisco, 13 April 44. And we moved to a town called Orinda, which is behind Oakland, where all the rich people live, in a suburb where there's no black people. And we lived there until I went to university 1964, 62, 64. Went to Oregon State, was there for 4 years in RTC contract program, so I had sociology and naval science. So I went to Vietnam in submarine service for 2 years on a U.S. submarine called the Cusp. Came back, found out about the hippies in San Francisco, Berkeley, reading about them in the underground newspapers, joined the Sexual Freedom League, and went to Sexual Freedom League parties as a bisexual, got in the middle of the whole revolution. We formed the Psychedelic Venus Church, and then I wrote a thing called the Nelly Heathen, which is like the pagan Bible, which is funded to leave the U.S. to go to Europe, and I found a thing in the UC Berkeley travel guide, Berkeley campus. The very thing at the back was about Sophia, the world's largest floating commune, and it was in Costa Rica at the time. And actually the captain, Brad Ives, was in Berkeley, and I went to see him, and I saw all these naked pictures of all these naked people on the sailboat, and I've been through the naked hippie revolution. And so I said, oh, this sounds right. So I ended up joining the sailboat in Costa Rica, and we sailed to New Zealand 73, 74, ended up in Nelson, South Island. Was there for about a year and a half, and then I escaped from there to South Pacific, Fiji, New Caledonia, Vanuatu, back to Fiji, back to Sydney. And I was in Sydney for about a year and a half, 2 years, and then went back Sydney, London, overland, 1977, which I have pictures of. So we did a hippie trail from Sydney to London, stopped in Paris, and back to London, and flew back to Oakland from Gatwick, I think it was. Was there about, I was there about 6 months and rejoined Sophia, which at that time was in Brazil, in Fortaleza, Brazil. So I spent another 2 years on Sophia, and went from Brazil to northern USA to Boston and back down through the Panama Canal. And then I had to return to Australia to renew my visa. My permanent resident visa was running out in 1980, so I flew back via Costa Rica, Miami, San Francisco, back to Sydney, and I've been here ever since 1980 to 2012. And I came up to Maryborough in 1994. Set up this is a Teatree harvester. This goes down through the Teatree bushes and chops up in little pieces and shoots it up for the chute in the back here. And that the chute where that green thing is in the back, that's your bin to hold the chopped up Teatree before it's cooked. So what happens is after this bin here is full of Teatree oil, it goes into the still, that thing over there. And you can see the crane up the top that takes the lid off. And this thing here behind me, we dump that into that bin over there, which is the still. And there is actually an outside bin, and there's 3 separate bays for distilling the oil. And normally we put this on the inside where the boilers are. And the steam is put into the bottom of it through the steam fitting, which I'll show you the thing over here. You have the wood pile over here, which we have a wood-fired boiler, which makes it much cheaper than an LPG boiler, because it's less costly for running the still. So we have two boilers, a big boiler and a small boiler. And what happens is the steam comes up through here, and there's a hose down here on that little red pipe that goes into the bottom of the boiler, or the bottom of the still. And there's pipes in the bottom of the boiler, and the steam cooks it off. It comes up to this pipe here, and it comes off the top, which is the one outside at the moment. This hooks onto it, and it goes through this white thing over there, which is a condenser. And the water goes through that condenser, and it condenses the steam, or the condensate, and it separates the oil from the water. When the thing's cooked up, you have a combination of oil and water together. And here, the oil, Teatree oil or LP oil, is lighter than water. It sits on the top. So the separators over in the back here separate the water from the oil. And then you have 100%. These are separators. So actually the oil comes off like that. It comes off here, comes out of the condenser through here. This is all steaming and cooking. And the water, you turn this valve off here and the oil comes off the top and it comes into a dish here and you separate the oil and water. And all we do is filter it and clean it up a bit and you have pure 100% Teatree oil. And we have 5 different oils actually that we've been working on. And as simple as that. Queensland. We came up the river in 1994 and found a property in Maryborough where I could park my boat, Sophia's daughter, which was the primary reason why I came here. So I ended up owning 85 acres. On this block that we're on now, which is 45 acres, we put in tea trees and bamboo. And we started tea trees at the southern part of the block because I went to a horticulture course and they were doing a tea tree project in town, and I was sold on a bill of goods about how good tea trees were. At the time, there was a lot of tea tree growers. And then I went to a permaculture course in Nimbin where a bamboo grower was there, and the other half of the block didn't have any plants on it. So we put bamboo on the other side of the block. So I ended up having more than 50 species of bamboo. We have 5 oil crops on the block, and we have 1 oil crop, cypress pine sawdust, we brought in. So we have 5 essential oil crops and over 50 species of bamboo. And it's been an interesting voyage, and so it's sort of, it's become too expensive to maintain this place because for a single person, so I'm looking to move on to the next adventure. things to say to Amy is don't get too tired, too hungry, or too thirsty. And don't pick out the first drink and don't take a drink. Simple as that. We're talking about death and suicide and drinking. If you're an alcoholic and you keep drinking, in AA we know that you're going to die in a short period of time. If you're sober, you stay alive. If you drink or drink drive or drink, you're dead. As soon as you pick up, you go outside and you drink, you're dead. So we know that it's only a matter of time before we see you in the funeral parlor. No, I have no answer to that, because nobody gives a shit about me. I'm just a dumb shit on the planet, and if I dropped it tomorrow, my ashes, nobody gives a fuck, and it just goes into a meltdown. Termination is part of the trip. It's in the package. My fourth dog. He's about 4 years old now. She came from a rock quarry with one of my workers that used to live with me. Brought her in, she was about 6 weeks old, and I adopted her. I had another dog at the time, Josie, who since demise. I used to have 3 dogs at one time, and now I only have 1. And she's my partner, sleeps with me, goes every place I go, totally faithful, drives with me, walks with me. I can't be moved from one room to another, one place in the property without her following me every second. And so I'm a dog lover, and wherever I go, she's got to come with me. Hi, it's Motherboats here, also known as Reverend Mother Brian John Traynor Boats. I hope you had an interesting experience watching this video.